Back at it again. Buckle up. It's the Football Playbook with your boy RIC and the place to be. Ric Serritella here on this Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. Back at it again. Smash that like button. We were off yesterday. We missed you. We hope you had a marvelous Merry Christmas weekend and happy holidays. 5 days left in this calendar year. 2023, where you at? In the front, in the back. I can't wait. Buckle up. By the way, NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, 32 days away. I'll be out there in beautiful Pasadena broadcasting live for a week. Can't wait for that. Of course, the Super Bowl, 47 days away for all of you who like the countdown, keeping tabs, and, of course, the NFL Draft, 121 days away. Woo! From the 2023 NFL Draft in Kansas City. Buckle up. Go to NFLDraftBible.com, by the way, if you want to be in the know for all these bowl games, scouting reports, over 700 scouting reports. And, hey, I love the banter. Welcome back. All the Cowboys fans are here to revel in their glory. And, yeah, you know what? I might not be an expert for picking Gardner Minshew to beat the Cowboys. They should have, though. They should have. And I will say this. Who is it? William Burney. Love you, baby. Go find me a better handicapper in the world. I'm just saying, like Dak Prescott said last week, not to brag about myself, but I'm a pretty good handicapper. In fact, 11-5, big bounce back week against the spread. So, on the season, 135 wins, 103 losses. And that's just picking we picked every NFL game with the point spread, not just winners. Do me a favor, go find me somebody better out there on the universe. Just saying. Not to brag about myself like Dak Prescott. I'm pretty good when it comes to picking winners. Listen, we're breaking it down 13-2. Philadelphia Eagles. They're at home this week against the Saints. We'll see if we have time to get into that. I know Jordan Mailata was tearing up, in the locker room because his parents are coming out for this Saints game. It's the first time since he's come to America 6 years ago that they're going to attend their first Eagles game. Maybe we'll get him down at the tailgate takeover, by the way, January 1st. Your boy, RIC, Parking Lot G. We'll be there. It all starts 6 a.m. this Sunday, New Year's Day. Where will you be? I'll be at the tailgate takeover. Big shout out to Gail Saunders, 4th and John. We'll be holding it down with the free tomato pies, cheesesteaks, beer. Just pull up. Show up. Now, the Eagles have the Saints and Giants. The Vikings have the Giants and Bears. The Vikings have the Packers and Bears, and that's another one I called the Packers. I said, for those of you paying attention, Green Bay's playing good football. I think the Vikings split and go 13-4. The 49ers are going to win out. What do they won? 7 or 8 in a row? And they're at the Raiders and versus the Cardinals. 49ers are going to finish 13-4 with about a 10-game winning streak into the playoffs. I think the 49ers and Vikings finished with the same record. I saw Paul Mancini in the chat room. I know he knows who holds the tiebreaker between the Niners and the Vikings, because I think it might come down to that. And then the Cowgirls, they're at Tennessee and at Washington. I think the Cowboys go 13-4. I think the Vikings, 49ers, and Cowboys all go 13-4. Tennessee, I told you that one too. I said the Houston Texans are going to get their second win of the season, right? It happened. And this is a team, Thursday night, Cowboys are going to take care of business again because, the Titans are like without 15 players right now. They had 9 players out, 6 people questionable. Davey boy, do you know something I don't? Mama Mancini is making the meatballs? Let me find out. Paul, let me find out. Good to see you, by the way, David boy. Buckle up. So, the Eagles got to win this game. The Saints now becomes a must-win. The last thing you want to do is go into week number 18 needing to win that game for home field advantage, because home field advantage is going to mean a lot now. The road needs to run through Philadelphia. And remember, the way it all works, this new playoff seeding format, the Eagles, as the number 1 seed, will play the lowest remaining seed, which right now could be the Dallas Cowboys, because the Cowboys are going to be the 5th seed and the Bucks or the Panthers will likely be the 4th seed. Cowboys are going to probably knock them off. The 6th seed is probably going to lose. I'm telling you what, round 3, ding, 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 could be the first round of the playoffs. It could very well be the Cowboys and Eagles. Game numero uno for Philadelphia come January. It's a real possibility. Real good possibility. And I'll tell you what, quite frankly, until I see what Jalen Hurts looks like in a full game, I don't know what to think, because I don't know if we'll see Jalen Hurts in a full game. You really don't want him to play a full game, especially without Lane Johnson. So what does it look like? We talked about the injury as a 10 to 14 day injury, and it comes more with pain threshold, right? Jalen cannot hurt the shoulder further by playing. It comes down to pain tolerance. And again, on Sunday, our guy Ian Rappaport, national reporter Ian Rappaport with the scoop again, not the local media. I'm not knocking the local media, guys. What I'm saying is, who's leaking? There's a leak inside the NovaCare complex. Ian Rappaport is being fed this information. It's not coming from the agent. I don't know where it's coming from, guys. Somewhere inside the building, there's leakage. Because Ian Rappaport had the scoop that if the Eagles win, you probably won't see Jalen Hurts the rest of the season. However, with a loss, there's a very good chance that Jalen Hurts makes a push to play. Now, again, the fact that the national guys keep having these scoops tells me there's something going on there. Eventually, that's going to come out in the wash, but somebody's leaking the information. And I do think you're going to see Jalen Hurts, because this just became a must-win scenario. Sirianni said, hey, we're focused on winning the Saints game. We're not worried about the draft equity, but yeah, they are kind of intertwined, right? I've got reactions too. I mean, I got all the post media stuff. Sirianni met with the media again yesterday, but I want to get into the ramifications of these injuries. By the way, we're starting to see who's going to be back and who's not. Miles Sanders is playing his way out of Philadelphia. And I don't know if you guys saw this. He plays too much on social media. That's what I don't like about Miles Sanders. He's not a mature professional. He's out here on the Twitterverse or Instagram or whatever. Like, he's liking comments and interacting with fanboys and, people who are completely irrelevant in his life. And, like, did you guys see Josh Jacobs went off after the Raiders lost the other day. And then you had, like, I guess Eagles fans tagging Miles Sanders like, oh, I can't wait until we get a real running back in Philly. Oh, we're going to get Josh Jacobs coming to Philly. Hey, Miles, can't wait till you're out of here. And, like, Miles Sanders is out here liking and reacting to it all. Maybe that's why, like, fumbles, part of that is mental weakness. I believe that. Tiki Barber was mentally weak until he met Tom Coughlin. And you could talk about the technique and holding it high and tight. It was a mental thing. And to me, it's in Miles' head. Miles Sanders is a mental liability, and playing in Philadelphia, heck no. The Eagles ain't paying you $10 million a year to come back here. No way, no how. And speaking of head, like, that's the other thing I saw a couple weeks ago, when that girl, Miles was out here being exposed. This girl was putting out the Instagram or the Snapchat. I'm not that hip. But, like, I noticed, like, he's out here trying to get head before the game. Bro, can we just win the game first and get the post-game head? Like, I don't know. My high school coach, Justin Serrato, if you're out there, John Liberato, if you're watching, like, he always told us, no head on game day. Wait till after. Like, you need some of that aggression. It's the details. It's the little things. But on some real talk, like, Miles Sanders, man, I don't see it. And I worry. And there's a very good reason why you saw Kenneth Gainwell involved as much as he was. I don't think Sirianni trusts Miles Sanders. And I don't think Miles Sanders will be back here, quite frankly. But let's talk about the injuries. We're having some fun. Well, lighten up, William Burney. You Cowgirls fans are so uptight. Take everything so serious. Yeah. So, see, Sully music played. He knows. That's football 101, bro. All right. Getting back. God forbid we have a little fun on the football playbook. The Cowboys fans get all bent out of shape. God. Jill Wilt. Hang out in Philadelphia a little while. That's why we call them the Cowgirls. I'll tell you what. More real talk. Eagles, though, the Eagles need a cowboy up. Eagles need a cowboy up. Buckle up. It just got real out here with the injuries, man. All right, listen. Say what you want. I mean, where do we begin? Obviously, Jalen Hurts is the big question mark, but we mentioned Lane Johnson. Did they rush Lane Johnson back too soon? Yeah, Jill, we're based in Philadelphia. It's an Eagles show. Welcome to the program. So, yeah, it's just us having fun. The bickering, the bantering, it's all in fun, right? And that's what I want to tone the shit. Yeah. Tone, I'm just getting your messages. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to have a little fun. But unlike some of the Eagles fans that are out there harassing Dak Prescott, man, that was nasty. Some of the things, or I shouldn't categorize Eagles fans. The one fan that ruined the bunch and gave all Eagles fans a black eye because they will be categorized, man. That harassment on Instagram that Dak Prescott, that's not what it's about. It's not, there's a personal line that should not be crossed. That, to me, out of bounds. And we could sit here and have fun and talk about Instagram and getting head and all that. But when you talk about, I'm glad that your mother's dead. I'm glad that your brother killed himself. I hope your brother dies next. It's out of bounds. Flag on the field. Nasty, nasty. We have fun on the football playbook. Let's always keep it that way. And I appreciate the chat room for always keeping it respectful and having fun. That's what we're about. Getting back to the injuries, though. The abdomen, yeah. You wonder if Lane Johnson came back too soon, because this abdomen injury has been an issue for the past several weeks, right? And now, what are they reporting? A torn tendon in the abdomen. Man, this could linger. And I think, again, it's really more about a pain threshold than anything else. And I think Lane Johnson is going to give it a go and guts it out and be back for the playoffs. That's just a hunch. That's a guess. And I know Lane Johnson earlier in the year, this is why you can never look too far ahead. He said, I'd like to play another 2 years maybe. Man, couple concussions, strained abdomen. Let's get through the season first, Lane. Nick Sirianni acknowledged he's going to miss extended time. And our good friend Martin Frank, my favorite Martian, he'll be on next week with us, by the way. He specifically asked, could we see a scenario where Andre Dillard slides into left tackle, Jack Driscoll plays right tackle, Mulata can go both sides, and Sirianni said everything's on the table. Now, I think that Sirianni will lean on offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland University, because he's going to know better how to put the best foot forward with the mixing and the matching. And now, when you go back to the training camp days and you talk about the cross-training that Stoutland and really the whole team likes to do, but really the offensive line, a lot of interchangeable parts, right? We've seen Dillard play guard. We've seen him really struggle at right tackle. He's probably better suited for left tackle than he is right tackle. He struggles with that. So does Mulata start at right tackle and Driscoll starts at left tackle with Dillard providing relief for Driscoll if needed? Or do you just keep Mulata at left, start Driscoll at right, and if something happens to Driscoll and he goes down, then you flip-flop Mulata to the right and put Dillard at left? A lot of ways to play this. I will say, Driscoll, very adequate again in relief. 11 snaps after the Lane Johnson injury. 1 pressure allowed. By the way, Micah Parsons, again, MIA. Lane Johnson's little bitch again. 0 pressures, 0 sacks, 3 tackles. Much to do about nothing, that Micah Parsons. I think the offensive line has got to really figure out how to get through these next 2 games, especially, like Jill Wilt says, Jalen Hurts might play this Saturday. Show Enough says too much movement late in the season. Well, that's what I'm saying, though. They cross-train these guys. Dillard's already played both tackle spots and guard. And I think personally, I think Driscoll at right tackle is the way to go until it isn't. which means if something were to happen to Driscoll, I think then Mulata has to go to the right side. This is a long-term injury, though, for Lane Johnson. I think this is even just as big, if not bigger, than the Jalen Hurts injury. Really. I mean, you're talking about a guy that hasn't allowed a sack or a pressure in almost 1,000 snaps in almost 2 years, over 2 years. You know, Paul Mancini could see Mulata at right and Dillard at left as the strongest five. I don't know. To me, Driscoll at right and Mulata at left, I think, gives them the strongest pair of starting tackles. I think that's the strongest unit. Unfortunately, I think it's a long shot. I think Lane Johnson will gut it out. I think he'll give it a go. It's hard to envision me seeing Lane Johnson get through the playoffs with this injury. I think this is, unfortunately, a significant injury. Significant. Big opportunity for Driscoll. So, some things to think about with Stoutland, Nick Sirianni. They'll huddle up. Coach said everything's on the table. One day at a time. Now, he also acknowledged the Avant Maddox injury is also going to be an extended injury that could stretch into the playoffs. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, like we speculated, is no lock. He's no guarantee to return. Your guess is as good as ours and Nick Sirianni's, because he basically acknowledged January 20th, I think, is the Eagles' first playoff game at home, Joe. But Nick Sirianni basically acknowledged as much, that, they've got to do the CAT scan on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He said this is a hard injury to track. It's not like this is a lacerated kidney. It's not like this is just like, yo, you pop over to Chauncey over at the locker. Yo, how you feeling today? Oh, I'm good to go, coach. No, like, they got to see what the x-rays say. So we'll see what the CAT scan says this week. And then they'll have to adapt and adjust whether or not Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is back, and his availability, his versatility came up about him playing nickel. I think 70% of his snaps with the Saints came in the slot. So we saw Josiah Scott, who's been kind of on this roller coaster ride this season, not so good yesterday. That's not going to work in the playoffs. And I saw somebody in the chat room, they must have saw what I saw. I retweeted it, by the way. Craven LeBlanc, good friend of the show, by the way, former Eagles, put it out there that he's now 100% healthy, ready to go. Might not be a bad idea just to sign him to the practice squad and kick the tires. Why not? Why not? Might not be a bad idea to just kick the tires on Craven LeBlanc, because Josiah Scott, what I saw there, that's not going to get it done in the playoffs. Kayvon Wallace, you want to throw him in the slot? That might be the direction they're trending if Maddox and Chauncey are both out this week. I think you'll see Reed Blankenship at safety and Kayvon Wallace in the slot. So Craven LeBlanc, I think you got nothing to lose there. Sign him to the practice squad. Try to get him up to speed. Maybe trot him out there against the Giants, see what he's got. Might be better than what Josiah Scott brings to the table, just saying. That is something that changes the dynamic of the whole secondary. And again, we talked about it, like all these breakdowns, the 3rd and 30, the CeeDee Lamb 36-yard touchdown. Eagles got to figure this thing out because the Cowboys did. Like Deron Bland, we talked about him. He stepped up. Nazon Wright, he stepped up. And we talked about Kelvin Joseph for the Cowboys in the slot was a concern. Cowboys seem to have it figured out. The Eagles now need to figure it out. And I'll tell you what, another thing that didn't sit well with me post-game, going back to the secondary and the communication and Darius Slay. You know what bothers me about Slay? We know he didn't start his career here. He's really not a real Philadelphia Eagle. And what I mean by that, he doesn't embrace the standard or the culture. Like who said it yesterday? The standard wasn't there for us today. Fletcher Cox said that. He gets it. I don't think Darius Slay gets it because this has happened now several times. And the first couple times, I didn't make a big deal about it. I brought it up. I mentioned it, but I didn't kill him for it. But now it's starting to bother me is this finger pointing by Darius Slay. Getting his Shaggy on like, yo, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Shaggy, Slay, it was you. And this is what bothers me in the post game after the Cowboys. He said, people got to do their job. I don't want to be the point. I don't want to be the one to point fingers, but yeah, people got to do their job. We were in cover 2, so you already know. You could figure it out. Like, bro, keep that in house. You got a problem with somebody else on the team? Go address them. Bro, you're supposed to be a veteran leader. What are you, 32 years old? You talking out here putting your business on the streets like some kind of high school girl? Yo, you got a problem? Man up. Go talk to Marcus Epps, Reed Blankenship, mano a mano, not out on the streets. Not a big fan of the finger pointing that Darius Slay throughout the season, and more notably after the Cowboys game. Bro, you're getting lit up. Real talk. Man up. So the Avante Maddox, and, listen, Avante Maddox cannot be counted on. Like, the durability concerns are real. They are. Like, you've really got to have a better backup next year on this roster. If Avante Maddox is your quote-unquote starting slot, he just can't be counted on to stay healthy. That's the bottom line in the bottom line business. Like, and he's a really good player, but when he's out, look at the dynamic of the secondary now. It's in disarray. Suddenly, Darius Slay can't cover a lick. The slot situation is a disaster. And the safety depth is razor thin right now. The secondary is got major concerns. CeeDee Lamb, hello, 10 catches for $120 and 2 touchdowns. I don't feel good with T.Y. Hilton in the fold. If the Cowboys are your first matchup now, I got to give the Cowboys wide receivers an advantage over the Eagles secondary as of today, right now. It's a concern. So you've got three mega injuries in Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, and Avant Maddox 2 weeks before the playoffs. Not an ideal situation. M. Reyes wants me to sniff some ammonia and wake up. Bro, wake up, Rick. If Jalen's in that game, Eagles win by 20. A healthy Jalen. M. Reyes, you're missing the point. Jalen ain't healthy, and he won't be for the remainder of the year. We'll talk about Jalen Hurts because I've kind of let that sit on the back burner. We're an hour down, hour of power to go. When we come back, I'll tell you what people are saying and thinking about Jalen Hurts. Better yet, I'll tell you what I think about Jalen Hurts. It's the Football Playbook, episode 80. Smash that like button. We'll be back.